just for now. Gosh, is that similar? Oh, hi, everyone. Welcome to our first source in a very long time. We are so excited to have you guys back and to welcome you guys back for the start of an exciting semi-in-person school year. And yeah, we're just so excited to finally see you guys in person after a really long time just doing things online. And Sarah will give us a short itinerary of what we'll be doing today.
So just before we start, let's introduce ourselves.
Yeah, it's probably important.
My name is Sarah, and this is Virtues, and we are the co-presidents of MAXA for this school year. So like Virtue said, just a quick rundown of what will be happening. We're going to have a guest speaker give a short talk to us, and then one of our students will be sharing her testimony about how Jesus has worked in her life. And this will be followed by some time of adoration and praise and worship music, as well as the chance for confession. And after all of this, we hope that you'll join us in the Student Center downstairs for some pizza.
So without further ado, we shall present our guest speaker, Father Raph, and he will be giving us a talk on spiritual preparation, which is the theme for Source today. So the reason why we chose this theme is because it's easy to get caught up in mentally preparing for school and maybe even like physically preparing for school or emotionally preparing for school, but are we really spiritually ready to take on, a lot of new responsibilities or stresses that come with the school year? So that is something that we really want to focus on today, and we hope that through the talk and testimony and the time of adoration, you will be able to spiritually prepare yourself for the rest of the school year and kick it off with a good start. And yeah.
So before we start, a few fun facts about our guest speaker. He had 6 pet turtles as a child at the same time. He once slept overnight in Jerusalem at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, and his favorite team sport is ultimate frisbee. So please join us in welcoming Father Raph.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks, Virtues and Sarah. That's a cool name, Virtues. I like it. As they said, my name is Father Raphael, or Father Raph, as people usually call me. I'm a member of a religious community, the Congregation of the Resurrection, or the CRs for short. And I've been a priest for, I think, a little over 2 years now. And recently, I was assigned to vocation ministry for my community since July. As they said, our theme this evening is spiritual preparation. So I can imagine most of you are probably excited to finally be back on campus, in person again, maybe even a little exhausted from trying to get settled into all your routines between your classes, extracurriculars, co-op for those of you who have them, life in general. There's a lot for you to be preparing for as you start this year. And if any of you are anything like me, you maybe spend even more time preparing for things than you actually do doing those things that you prepared for. Don't ask me how long I prepared for this talk. But have you found that no matter how much you try to prepare for something, it never quite goes as planned, does it? There's always little hiccups, and you can usually manage to roll with those. And then there's the things that you could never have seen coming. What do you do about that? Since I graduated from university, which is now a little over 11 years ago, I've noticed people talk a lot more about mental health, and that's a good thing. And the word that really stands out for me when we think about preparing for things and things that you could never even see coming is this word, resilience. Resilience is usually defined as the capacity to recover from difficult life events, not the capacity to be free from or invulnerable to, but the capacity to recover from difficult life events. So difficult life events happen to us, and then we recover. That ability to recover is what we generally call resilience. So what does resilience have to do with our theme of spiritual preparation? Well, as we've seen, life happens and things don't really turn out the way we planned. And as Catholics, we have access really to two wonderful things that to carry us through life as it happens. I'm speaking of two of the three sacraments which normally you could receive more than once in your life. So if you guessed the Eucharist and reconciliation, you are correct. Full disclosure, I am no expert in psychology, nor on the subject of resilience, but I have lived for a while and experienced a few life events that some would consider difficult. And I found that if you read popular literature on the topic of resilience, we can basically narrow it down into two main components: being connected and dealing with failure. But before we get to what the Eucharist and confession have to do with being connected and dealing with failure, I want to be very clear about something. I'm in no way claiming that staying close to the Eucharist and confession is somehow a substitute for therapy, counseling, or professional help. There is no shame in getting professional help when you need it. It doesn't mean you're a spiritual failure, doesn't mean you've let God down, it doesn't mean you're lacking in faith to need professional help to get back on your feet. It's not God or therapy. After all, what genuine healing is there that doesn't ultimately come from God? Now, that being said, I have had two clinical experiences working with people in inpatient mental health. And what I saw there is that people have to live life in between their appointments. And it's that in-between time, which is really the majority of our life, and really where the professional help we receive gets integrated and actually takes root into our lives. It's this in-between time that I'm talking about, okay? So not a substitute, but definitely a big help. So let's start with being connected, that first component of resilience. Have you ever had someone offer you support, but the relationship you had with them didn't really lend itself to that? Let me give you an example. I've had a few life events, as I said, that people would consider difficult. In 2018, the year before I was ordained to the priesthood, my mom died after a 5-year struggle with cancer. And so many people said to me, if you ever need to talk, just give me a call. We could go for a coffee or something. And I truly did appreciate it, but some of these people I literally had just met at my mom's funeral. They may have been well-meaning people from our parish, friends of my mom or dad, but I actually did not know them. On the flip side, I saw the difference that it made when my dad's old friends, whom he had known for over 30 years, would call or visit us. Unlike our other visitors, who I felt my dad and I had to kind of entertain to retell the whole story for their sake, when my dad's old friends would call or visit, there was an immediate sense of understanding. They had been through our life with us. They knew and loved my mom. And really, it was their relationship with us, more than anything that they said at the time, that brought us comfort and helped us to feel not so alone. Jesus in the Eucharist is kind of like an old friend. Perhaps you may not have realized this, but he's been with us in our life this whole time. This evening, we're going to have an opportunity for Eucharistic adoration. You can think of it as a visit from an old friend. If this is your first time at adoration, let me tell you about the first time I went to adoration. I didn't even know the adoration existed till my first year of university. I went to Sunday Mass and received communion and everything. I never really thought about it. It was something we did. And so in first year, I was hanging out with Catholic students, such as yourselves, and they were talking about this adoration thing. So I said, what's adoration? And someone said, well, you know, like they put Jesus like in the Eucharist in this like golden thing, and then you adore. And I said, adore, okay. Like, so at communion, when they say the body of Christ, that makes sense. Kind of like in the Christmas hymn, "O come, let us adore him." It's the same Jesus who is adored by the wise men who comes to us in Holy Communion. And so then I asked, well, what do you do during adoration? How do you adore? And someone said, well, you just talk to Jesus, you know, like when you pray. Now you have to understand, up to this point in my life, praying meant saying things to God. Prayers I learned like the Our Father, Hail Mary, Glory Be, Grace Before Meals, or at Mass, the responses or hymns, or sometimes requests in my own words for help or praying for others. And if you were really serious, the Rosary. But can you guess what happened the first time I went to adoration? I was exhausted. I tried to mentally say things to God for an hour. And I remember asking a priest about this afterwards, and he kind of laughed at me. And you have to admit, it is kind of funny. You wouldn't do that to your friends. Why would you do it to God? Anyways, the priest gave me instead a beautiful image that I still carry with me. He said, prayer over time is like an old married couple. Sometimes they don't even need to say anything. They can just be in the same room, and they know that they love each other deeply. So if being connected with others is one of the keys to resilience, to being able to recover when difficult life events hit us, then investing in our relationship with Jesus, being connected with Jesus, spending actual time with him, is a relationship that will carry you through the rest of your life. Now, I haven't lived that long, but I can tell you it has carried me this far. It's that immediate sense of understanding that you don't need to explain and tell him the whole story. Jesus already knows you. Jesus already loves you. And it's this relationship, even if no words are said, that helps us to know we are not alone when things happen. So just try it. Don't worry if you're doing it right or wrong. Truth be told, as long as you're actually here, you can't really do adoration wrong. Are you falling asleep? Peter, James, and John fell asleep at the first holy hour in the Garden of Gethsemane. Or as one of my spiritual directors once said to me, maybe God knew that you needed the rest because you weren't going to make time for it yourself. Are you distracted? Can't focus? Don't feel anything? No great spiritual insights? Maybe this time, God doesn't want you to do or learn anything, but just to be there and receive the gift of his presence that he wants to give you. So that just like that old couple, you can know that you are deeply loved as you are. And finally, as I heard once in the episode of the podcast Poco a Poco, this wise saying bears repeating: not every grace is received in the chapel. Not every grace is received in the chapel. Sometimes you pray and nothing happens, not until later. So don't spend that time worrying that nothing seems to be happening. God heard you, but maybe he wants you to hear him too. So, number one, being connected. The first main contributor to resilience is being connected with others. Knowing that you are not alone gives you the hope and courage you need to take that next step toward getting back on your feet. But it's those meaningful relationships, our old friends, who can do that best for us. So do yourself a favor. Spend some time regularly as you are able, because you are here to be students. Spend time regularly as you're able in the presence of Jesus when you can this year. Doesn't have to be a whole hour. You can just drop in when you have some time. Even if Jesus is not exposed in a solemn manner like he will be this evening, but just humbly sitting there in the tabernacle in the silence of the church. Become old friends with Jesus. Invest. Invite Jesus to be a regular part of your life. Open up to him about all the stuff. And when you need it most, it will be this relationship itself that has grown over time, which will bring you comfort and help you to know when you need to know it most, that you are not alone. Now, the second component of resilience, as I said, is dealing with failure. Like adoration, I would be lying if I said I had a regular habit of going to confession all my life. I did not go to a Catholic school until high school, and while confession was offered, I think in Lent, I tried to go a few times, but I chickened out. And so I carried my burdens by myself until my first year of university. But in a strange, truly strange turn of events, I became the president of the Catholic Students Club in my second semester of first year. I guess they were pretty desperate. Anyways, to be honest, I accepted the position because I thought it would look good on a resume, a leadership position in an extracurricular club. But integrity was a pretty strong value in my upbringing, and all of a sudden it dawned on me, how could I be a leader for other Catholic students when I wasn't really living the Catholic faith fully myself? What do you do? Well, I thought, I'll just do more Catholic stuff, to balance out my sins, because that's how this all works, right? Anyways, it was Lent that year, and as you can tell, I'm a pretty all-or-nothing guy. So I decided I would give up meat, video games, alcohol, and go to weekday mass on Fridays. Even my agnostic roommate said to me, "What are you going to do with yourself?" I said, "I haven't really thought about that yet." And to top it off, I had that Pray the Rosary Daily pamphlet. I actually brought it, but I left it in my bag. But I'm sure you've all seen it, the blue one. And I had it on my desk because I liked the picture of Mary that was on it, and she's kind of looking at you like. Anyways, I thought, oh, daily. But I knew it wasn't impossible. My grandmother lived with us, and she prayed the rosary every morning before breakfast. So I thought, okay, daily rosary for Lent. Let's do this. Now, I don't remember exactly if it was a Tuesday or Friday, but I remember it was the Sorrowful Mysteries. And the pamphlet is great. You've probably seen it. It's got a picture, a little scripture verse, and if you're like me, you're really dense, it has something for you to meditate on. So, the first sorrowful mystery, the agony in the garden, for true contrition for sin. So I was like, okay, God, give me true contrition for sin. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done. And about like 3 or 4 Hail Marys into the rosary, really through Mary's intercession, God answered my prayer. It just kind of dawned on me that true contrition for sin, being truly sorry, means at least wanting to try to make a difference. Certainly over the years, I was convinced I felt sorry for my sins, but I never really wanted to try to make things different. I wasn't fooling God. The only person I was fooling was myself. I felt embarrassed, and yes, I began to cry. It was this deep cry, like from down my diaphragm. But that was a great grace that evening, and although I would struggle for another week trying to rationalize away the need to go to confession if I was really sorry, I also realized that the saints who I looked up to went to confession regularly, so why shouldn't I? And so I went to confession really for the second time in my life, since my very first confession, without deliberately holding anything back out of fear or embarrassment during my first year. And God gave me what I asked for, because at that point, I made a choice to live my faith without intentional compromise. Now, that is not to say that I had stopped sinning from that point, not at all. When I say without intentional compromise, what I mean is I wouldn't deny or make excuses for myself anymore. If I sinned, I would just admit it and go to confession. And back then, I was a pretty frequent flyer in the confessional. But little did I know that this would help me in another way over the years. I think for many people, including perhaps for some of you, and certainly for me when I was in high school, the number one obstacle to confession is our general fear of what people will think if they really know what we're like. And so we keep these things to ourselves. We choose to carry our burdens alone. But the truth of the matter is that we don't go to confession to tell God what we've done. God already knows. We go to confession so that God can help us to know that we are still loved, even though we've done whatever we've done. Confession is not about cleaning yourself up so that you can be perfect for God. Confession is about letting God into those places of our lives where we've messed up and we won't let anyone in, and learning that God does not reject us, even there, but loves us and wants to make us whole again. Experiencing God's love in these places where we've messed up helps us to not lose sight of this beautiful truth, probably my favorite St. John Paul II quote. We are not the sum of our weaknesses and failures. We are the sum of the Father's love for us and our real capacity to become the image of His Son. We are not the sum of our weaknesses and failures. We are the sum of the Father's love for us and our real capacity to become the image of His Son. We all know that God loves us, but we have to experience it to be convinced. And when we make an honest confession, we open up ourselves to experience this. We open up those places where perhaps we've carried a burden for a very long time, and we allow God to come in and show us that we are loved even there. Experiencing being loved in these places where we are ashamed or not proud of what we've done helps us to know that we are more than what we've done or failed to do. And it's this knowing that we are loved, even when we have failed, that helps us with that second main component of resilience, dealing with failure. Certainly, not all failures are sins. Some are just mistakes. We didn't mean them. But regardless, we know that whatever has happened, it's not the end of the world, because we know that beneath it all, we are loved, even when we fail. Regularly experiencing God's love for us in these places through confession goes a long way to helping to be convinced of that. And I get it. If, like me in my first year, you haven't been back to confession since your first confession, maybe it's too intimidating, and tonight's not the night. But I would invite you still to ask God to bring you there one day when the time is right. Because probably the number one thing people need to know today is not that they're loved when they're successful, but they're loved even when they are not. So that's my take on spiritual preparation. You can't prevent everything, but you can grow in resilience by being connected to others and dealing with failure in a healthy way. Regular time spent with Jesus in adoration will form that kind of old friendship that will see you through life's toughest moments, that you'll know you're not alone. And regularly experiencing God's love for you in the sacrament of reconciliation will help you know that even when you do fail, you are not rejected, you are loved.
Thank you so much, Father Raph, for your talk. You really made it clear the purpose of adoration and confession, and for me, just removed a lot of the pressures of feeling like I need to do it right, or that, that it's intimidating when it really isn't. And so I really appreciate the way that you explained both of those things. So next up, we are going to have our student testimony, but before that, Virtues is going to talk about another great way that we can become spiritually prepared and continue preparing ourselves throughout the year.
So MAXA, as you may or may not already know, offers this thing called a faith study, which is a 6-week program, 1 hour a week, very low commitment, and it just allows you to see the Christian faith, and particularly the Catholic faith, in a new way, and in a clear and simple way, so that you can, grow in sharing it with others if that's something that you want to work on, or if you want to just grow in learning more about the faith and what it's all about. And so it just is a way to allow you to explore the faith in a small group setting, so that you can really open up and truly prepare yourself spiritually for the rest of the school year and just in your general life experiences. And so the website to sign up, if you don't already know, is ccofaithstudies.ca. And after this session is over, we'll be having a laptop downstairs when we eat together as a community. And you will be able to sign up for a faith study then. Yes.
Thank you. So to welcome our student testimony giver, we have 3 fun facts about her. The first one is that she was trained in karate for 4 years and figure skating for 6 years. She prefers Pepsi over Coke, which is kind of questionable. And she's terrified of dogs. So please join us in welcoming Simran.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Simran. I'm in my 3rd year of math and stats, and I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about my faith journey. So, growing up, I had a very faith-filled family, but not the traditional sense. So, my mom is Catholic, and my dad is Hindu, and they're both very practicing people. So, we definitely had different views in our house, but we were taught to, always love others and to, be very holy people. So I was baptized young, I went to church every Sunday, and even though I did all these things, I didn't really have a very personal relationship with God. And because I went to public school for most of my life, I wasn't really able to learn much, so I had to ask my mom a lot of questions, and she didn't really know much, so it was kind of hard for her to answer some of my crazy questions that I had. But the other thing that was really important for me when I was a kid was that I was a very shy little child, which, if you know me now, that's probably a crazy thing to know, but I was very shy. I didn't talk to anyone. I would hide behind my parents, and when I got into high school and just school in general, I became very chatty and this like social butterfly, and I wanted to be friends with any person I saw. So I had this idea of like a best friend, or like, I don't know, people call it like a ride or die, or like your one and only best friend that you have. And I was always chasing for this person. And because, I was always looking for friends, I didn't really have this one person that I could go to for everything, and that person would come to me for everything. I love ranting and talking a lot, so I wanted someone to hear my ideas and my thoughts so that I could rant them out and kind of feel calm and peaceful. And I had this idea, which was that I needed a friend at any moment. When I needed them, they would be there for me, even if I wasn't able to give that back to them, which sounds very unrealistic when I say it now. I had this cycle where I would find a friend, I would invest all my time in them, tell them everything about my life, definitely overshare, and then expect them to fulfill this idea that I had. But it never worked out for me. And when this happened and I found out, okay, this person was not fulfilling this idea, I would leave them, I would brush them off, find a new friend, and hide all these emotions that I had and just go back to being quiet and shy. When I was in grade 10, I started to blame myself and hate myself for the way that this cycle was happening. I thought it was my fault that I wasn't having these friends, and these people were not staying in my life, and I blamed myself. And it led me to take my life for granted. So I had this idea that no one's life would be hurt whether or not I was here on this earth, and it was a really sad time in my life. One night, on a very low moment, I had begged God for help, and I don't know what happened, but somehow I was able to choose that day to work on changing my mindset of things. I remember talking to someone about this idea that I had and my cycle and everything that was going on, and they questioned me, and they were like, why aren't you chasing God the same way that you're chasing this best friend? And it shocked me. I was like, what did you just say? I was so confused, but it seemed very logical. God is always there. He knew everything about me. He was a great listener for me to rant to, and he could probably give me some solid advice if I trusted him enough. So I started doing exactly that. I went to God when I wanted to share any kind of news. If I was happy, if I was sad, whatever the case was, I was always going to God first. Even when I had some bad days, I would go to him, and it kind of gave me hope, because when I would go to him, I was always like, okay, you know what, God? I'm gonna trust you, and hopefully things will work out. Hopefully you'll figure it out for me. Around this time in grade 10, my mom started going to daily mass randomly. She was like, I want to go to daily mass. So she started going every single day, and I was like, okay, I'll come with you. So we started going every single day to daily mass. And this became something for me that was like super, super important, and has become still something really important to me. So if you ever see me at mass, I probably look like I'm daydreaming or like somewhere like totally not paying attention, but I'm really just talking to God and telling him about all my life and everything that's going on and everything that I'm worried about, and just telling him and keeping him up to date with things. And when mass actually starts, I kind of just become quiet, and I let him talk to me and teach me whatever he needs to. And so this place of mass really became like my peaceful place. It became a place for me to just sit down during exams, during whatever the case was, whatever I was going through in my life, and just spend some time alone with God. Another thing that really helped me was my journal. If you've heard my talk before, you probably have seen this journal. I bring it everywhere. But this journal is where I kind of wrote down all my emotions and things that I had going on in my life when I felt that praying aloud or praying in my head just wasn't cutting it. I needed to write something down. I needed to be concrete. And so I used to write letters to God, and I used to title them "To God, My Best Friend." And so these letters really helped me. They made me feel like I was able to rant to someone and get all those emotions out. So I definitely still had so much to learn about God, and I wanted to. I really had this feeling that I really wanted to learn about God, and so I did that through the church. I was doing stuff in like Edge and Life Teen in my church. And when I came into university, I had looked to the faith studies to help me kind of learn, register for faith studies, you know. But I definitely used that to kind of help me learn about how God's mind worked. I put myself in that position to kind of figure out more about God, learn about him, his plan, and just kind of the context in Jesus's time and like things that happened. And it made me really appreciate God a lot more. So all these things that I did really helped me spiritually prepare for major events in my life, like a new school year, like exams, like whatever the case was. I was always using these tools to help me and make my life a little bit better and more peaceful. So if there's anything you can take from my long spiel, it's something that I always like to say to people whenever they ask me for advice, and that is to always run to God in times of stress, worry, happiness, whatever the case may be, because in the end, it'll be you and him. Like, he's a forever, he's always gonna be around, so you can place your trust in him and know that he will always be there for you, and you can watch your life change just like how mine changed. Thank you. Yay.
So now we're going to invite Father Marcus to teach us more about what we're going to be doing in terms of adoration and praise and worship, and also the confession that will be taking place.
I don't know what more I can add than the inspiration you've already heard, Father Raph and Simran. Thanks a lot for your words, encouragement, even as to me as we enter into this time. We will have the next sort of 50 minutes or so for a time of adoration. And so it is, as Father Raph said, just coming before the Lord like an old friend. He's looking at you, you're looking at him. Just be present as much as you can. If this is a good opportunity for you, you feel prepared, we have the Sacrament of Reconciliation available this evening. And so Father Raph is going to be in the baptistry at the back of the church. The front doors of the church will be closed and locked, so nobody will come in that way in the middle of confession. Don't worry. And so a lineup for Father Raph maybe can just be on this side of the church, maybe starting at the second to last window. And then I'm going to be in the main confessional on the other side of the church, and again, maybe the line on the side of the church from about the second window from the back forward as well, if there are people waiting. Father Raph, you've been a priest 2 years. I've been a priest 10 years. Don't worry, we know what we're doing. So, if you're unsure, we got this. The act of contrition and so on, sometimes people get nervous about that. So we're going to transition then to adoration. It's going to take me a couple of minutes just to get things ready. So I'm not sure if you have some other announcements or other things you want to speak about. If not, we'll just sit and prepare our hearts for the great gift of this friend who's to come into our midst.
Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, with thanksgiving. I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, with thanksgiving. I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, with thanksgiving. I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, with thanksgiving. I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. So here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me.
So here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. Here I am to worship, here I am to bow to see you. Open the eyes. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you high, to see you high and lifted up, shining in the light of your glory. Pour out your power and love as we sing, holy, holy, holy. Open the eyes, open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you high, to see you high and lifted up, shining in the light of your glory. Pour out your power and love as we sing, holy, 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 to see you high and lifted up, shining in the light of your glory. Pour out your power and love as we sing, holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. You are holy, holy, holy. I want to see you sing holy. You are holy, holy, holy. You are holy, holy, holy. You are holy, holy, holy. I want to see you. 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 Even in the desert, even in the desert, even in the desert, you revive my soul. Even in the desert, even in the desert, even in the desert, even in the desert, you revive my soul. Even in the desert, even in the desert, even in the desert, even in the desert, you revive revive my soul. Even in the desert, even in the desert, even in the desert, you revive my soul. Even in the desert, even in the desert, even in the desert, you revive my soul. Even in the desert, even in the desert, even in the desert, you make all things new. How lovely is your dwelling place, O Lord Almighty. My soul longs and even faints for you. For here my heart is satisfied within your presence. I sing beneath the shadow of your wings. Better is one day in your courts, better is one day in your house, better is one day in your courts than thousands elsewhere. Better is one day in your courts, better is one day in your house, better is one day in your courts than thousands elsewhere, than thousands elsewhere. One thing I ask, and I would seek, to see your beauty, to find you in the place your glory dwells. Better is one day in your courts, better is one day in your house, better is one day in your courts than thousands elsewhere. Better is one day in your courts, better is one day in your house, better is one day in your courts than thousands elsewhere. My heart and flesh cry out for you, the living God. Your spirit's water to my soul. I've tasted and I've seen. Come once again to me. I will draw near to you. I will draw near to you. Better is one day in your courts, better is one day in your house, better is one day in your courts than thousands elsewhere. Better is one day in your courts, better is one day in your house, better is one day in your courts than thousands elsewhere. Better is one day in your courts, better is one day in your house, better is one day in your courts than thousands elsewhere, than thousands elsewhere. Better is one day, better is one day, better is one day, better is worthy of every song we could ever sing, worthy of all the praise we could ever bring, worthy of every breath we could ever breathe, we live for you. Jesus, the name above every other name. Jesus, the only one who could ever save. Worthy of every breath we could ever breathe, we live for you. Oh, we live for you. Holy, there is no one like you. There is none beside you. Open up my eyes in wonder. Show me who you are and fill me with your heart and lead me in your love to those around me. Worthy of every song we could ever sing. Worthy of all the praise we could ever bring. Worthy of every breath we could ever breathe, we live for you. Oh, we live for you. Holy, holy, there is no one like you. There is none beside you. Open up my eyes in wonder. Show me who you are and fill me with your heart and lead me in your love to those around me. Holy, there is no one like you. There is none beside you. Open up my eyes in wonder. Show me who you are and fill me with your heart and lead me in your love to those around me. And I will build my life upon your love. It is a firm foundation, and I will put my trust in you alone, and I will not be shaken, and I will build my life upon your love. It is a firm foundation, and I will put my trust in you alone, and I will not be shaken. Holy, there is no one like you. There is none beside you. Open up my eyes in wonder. Show me who you are can have my heart. You can have my heart. Whoa, whoa, you can have my heart. You can have my heart. Whoa, oh, you can have my heart. You can have my heart. Whoa, oh, you can have my heart. You can have my heart. Whoa, whoa, you can have my heart. You can have my heart. Give it to him. Whoa, whoa, you can have my heart. You can have my heart. If you want my heart, you've got it. You've got it. If you want my heart, you've got it. You've got it. If you want my heart, you've got it. You've got it. If you want my heart, you've got it. You've got it. Whoa, whoa, you can have my heart. You can have my heart. Whoa, whoa, you can have my heart. You can have my heart. Whoa, whoa, you can have my heart. You can have my heart. Whoa, oh, you can have my heart. You can have my heart. be God. Blessed be his holy name. Blessed be Jesus Christ, true God and true man. Blessed be the name of Jesus. Blessed be his most sacred heart. Blessed be his most precious blood. Blessed be Jesus in the most holy sacrament of the altar. Blessed be the Holy Spirit, the Paraclete. Blessed be the great Mother of God, Mary most holy. Blessed be your holy and immaculate conception. Blessed be her glorious assumption. Blessed be the name of Mary, Virgin and Mother. Blessed be Saint Joseph, her most chaste spouse. Blessed be God in his angels and in his saints. We praise thy name, Lord of all, we bow before thee. All on earth thy scepter claim, all in heaven above adore thee. Infinite thy vast domain, everlasting is thy reign. Infinite thy vast domain, everlasting is thy reign. Hark the glad celestial hymn, angel choirs above are raising, cherubim and seraphim, in unceasing chorus praising. Fill the heavens with sweet accord. Holy, holy, holy Lord. Fill the heavens with sweet accord. Holy, holy, holy Lord. Come now, run, daughters and sons, all tribes and tongues, let's start singing. No sweeter sound than freedom found. Oh, it may get loud, so let's start singing. Celebrate the King seated on the throne. The glory is yours forevermore. Celebrate the Son, look at what He's done. The blood of the Lamb is overcome. The greatest days are still ahead. Oh, He's just getting started. The mountains quake, every stronghold breaks over every grave. Hear us sing, oh, celebrate the King seated on the throne. The glory is yours forevermore. Celebrate the Son, look at what He's done. The blood of the Lamb is overcome. Celebrate the King seated on the throne. The glory is yours forevermore. Celebrate the Son, look at what He's done. The blood of the Lamb is overcome. The greatest days are still ahead. Oh, He's just getting started. Give Him high praise. Give Him high praise. Give Him high praise.
Forever and ever.
Give Him high praise. Give Him high praise.
All over the world.
Give Him high
The
praise.
King, He is worthy.
Give Him high praise.
He's worthy of glory.
Give Him high praise. Celebrate the King seated on the throne. The glory is yours forevermore. Celebrate the Son, look at what He's done. The blood of the Lamb is overcome. Celebrate the King seated on the throne. The glory is yours forevermore. Celebrate the Son, look at what He's done. The blood of the Lamb is overcome. The greatest days are still ahead. Oh, He's just getting started. Our lips will raise the loudest praise. Oh, we're just getting started.